Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2021 My Team career mode. This is episode number 108 for the Monaco Grand Prix sprint race. If you guys did miss the previous one, the full Imola Grand Prix last time I uploaded 2 days ago, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one, because I think a lot of you did maybe miss it as I had to upload it quite late in the day. Thank you YouTube for taking too long for the YouTube checking, but it was a crazy race at Imola. Two safety cars meant it was so close at the end. The tyre wear was also a factor, and we had a load of guys on soft tyres coming through versus the hard tyre runners. So really a lot of action you may have missed out there at Imola. But now it's time for the Monaco sprint race, and it is going to be a 25% sprint race, so you can hold your horses, hold your comments. It is going to be a 25% race, so we are going to get a substantial amount of action, but it is going to be altogether a shorter race than usual. But this is how the championship looks then going into this one. Antonio Giovinazzi, the reigning world champion, leads the way with 44 points. So for the first time in this series, it seems like the reigning champion, or one of the big contenders from last season, is there again for a consecutive season. I guess you could say George Russell, to be fair to him, was right up there for season 5 and 6, and there's still plenty of time for him to get into the mix. You know, only now last episode did he score his first podium for his new Aston Martin team and finally maybe settled in to the car. We're right there with him in the championship, down there with 24 points to our name. It's been a shaky start to the season. I mean, I think we've been driving well, but, you know, the grid's been so uber competitive, so close, and the races have been quite chaotic. That it's meant that we've fallen down the order after looking pretty good in higher positions, and somehow, Pierre Gasly has beaten us in every race. I don't know how, because I felt like we've been the better driver so far, but he's just done the business, I guess, on this Sunday, where it counts, and I can't complain too much about that. And once again, in an F1 game career mode, somehow Pierre Gasly's AI is, sticking it to me and getting under my skin a little bit mentally there. But hopefully we can try and reset that a bit and finally finish ahead of him at Monaco. And I'm feeling good about this one, I think. I think we can qualify well, and then obviously being a sprint race, there's maybe less jeopardy with a 2-stop on the tyre wear. It's going to be, for everyone, a 1-stop race around here. So in the past, even though we qualified well around here, we've been let down maybe with the 2-stop versus the 1-stop, and more so also, I think we've just had a history of really badly timed safety cars, where the safety cars come out right after we've made a pit stop, and so a bunch of our rivals who were around us get a free pit stop. This time around, I don't think that'll be the case with just a 1-stop ahead of us for Sunday's sprint. But here we are then on Saturday for the short qualifying, as we have this new format for the sprint round. So one session, and it's quite gloom and doom out there, but hopefully the rain's going to stay away for my sake. And as we go around on this outlap, here we are showing you another new feature for this sprint race at Monaco, an extra DRS zone. Yep, we've got a DRS zone through the Monaco tunnel. So not only do we have short qualifying, a shorter sprint race around Monaco, we also have an extra DRS zone to maybe try and encourage more overtaking. So I think hopefully we should have a pretty interesting race on our hands on Sunday with that, because already, you know, we saw previously, even AI on AI, they were actually making some decent moves out of the tunnel, but now with the DRS through there, that should encourage even more racing and maybe some punchier dive bombs down the inside, who knows. But here we are then on our second flying lap. That first run was more of a banker, because now you can see I've got into the groove. You know, Monaco's one of the circuits you need to dial in, get really close to the walls, try and test your limits, and here we are, purple, this could be on for pole position. No, not quite. It's P5, and that's actually quite a lot lower down than I thought it was going to be, considering we've got 2 purple sectors. But the reason is, well, as Antonio Giovinazzi goes across for a second lap to get P2, look at that. There's only 900ths between myself and, at the moment, Pierre Gasly, our teammate, is on provisional pole position. So Gasly has very much got accustomed to this car, it would seem, and he's finding the rhythm around here. He's alongside Giovinazzi, then Leclerc, the home favourite, on third place. Verstappen, really good once again in the Ford to be there in P4. But yeah, despite having 2 purples, just not quick enough through that final sector, and we're narrowly slower than our teammate, but we're 5 positions back. So that's just how crazy and close it is so far this season. The third lap, we actually go 2 red sectors, so not as quick as our first and second sector from the second run, but the last sector, crucially, is quicker, and we go up from P7 to P6. So not much of an improvement, and we actually go one position down ultimately from the second run, but the third runs were a lot better for a few other drivers, namely Felipe Drugovich up in second place, and Lando Norris gets himself up into P4 then. So it is the young Brazilian alongside our teammate on the front row. Leclerc still on the second row, but now alongside the McLaren, we're alongside Max Verstappen in the Ford, and Giovinazzi actually got bumped down to P8 because Lance Stroll actually pulled his thumb out and got up into P7. Not too bad. Notable, I would say, Yuki Tsunoda way down the order here versus Lando Norris, and the Mercedes cars looked to have picked up a bit of pace here, massively so, because they were kind of fighting the Saubers, the BMW Saubers last episode, and now they're fighting the Ferraris just outside the top 10. So it could be interesting times for the Silver Arrows, now in black, obviously, of Monster Mercedes. But let's go to the grid then. From P6, it's going to be challenging. Monaco is Monaco. It's tough to overtake, but it's a sprint race, so a bit more aggression, extra DRS zone. Maybe we can do something good from here and try and charge towards that podium. Let's go to the grid for Monaco Sprint.
Formula One returns to Monte Carlo once again today, home to the world-famous Monte Carlo Casino, first opened in 1863. And, of course, a certain road race, first held here in 1929. There's no greater an occasion, no more valuable a win than the Monaco Grand Prix. We're on the French Riviera once more this weekend at the 2-mile-long Circuit de Monaco. The cars will climb around 40 metres up the hill, past the casino, and then descend downwards towards the harbour through Sector 2. It's a very short run from pole position to the first of the 19 corners at Saint-Devote, and don't expect to see much overtaking here today. It's just about time to go to the track for the beginning of the race, but before we do, Anthony Davidson, what types of strategy do you think we can expect for today's event?
Well, there's a lot that both the driver and the team have to keep in mind when going into a race. The tyres, fuel, energy recovery systems, the list goes on and on. But I think the key to today's victory will come down to the pit stop strategy. Come in too soon and you might find yourself needing more than one stop. Too late and you're putting yourself at a disadvantage by spending longer on worn tyres.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Felipe Drugovich lines up on pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Norris, Verstappen, the owner driver, and Stroll, Giovinazzi, Russell, Lundgaard, and Mick Schumacher. Gasly, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Ocon, Valtteri Bottas, and Sainz. Joe, Tsunoda, Marcus Armstrong, and Lewis Hamilton. Tigtum, Eilert, Matsushita, and Jack Aitken. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
So if you're paying attention to the grid sequence there, unfortunately for our teammate, it's devastation. He's had to take an engine penalty, 10 places early on this season. That's a little bit concerning, but obviously his side of the garage have taken that as a precautionary, so hopefully that, pays dividends later in the season perhaps. But Gasly knocked off pole position, so he's way down in P11 now. That's a much harder task today, especially with how close that fighting pack is with the Mercedes, a Lotus, and Aston Martin of George Russell. Felipe Drugovich, though, the young Brazilian, inherits his first ever pole position, potentially. I don't know. I'm actually not sure. That maybe one of you guys can let me know in the comments below. I've kind of forgotten if he did get a pole last season. I don't believe so, but it's now the Brazilian on pole, and Leclerc is now on the front row for his home race. Now, in real life, he's not had the greatest races around here. Even, the Monaco Classic, he crashed a old Ferrari, but maybe virtually he could have a better time of it. It's going to be, like I said, for everyone, a one-stop sprint, flat-out race around the Principality here today. Let's hope we can try and have a good one. We're one place higher now because of our teammate, so let's make the most of that. As without further ado, we get ready for 5 red lights to the Monaco sprint race in Season 7. Lights are out, and we're underway. It's a real slow start for Verstappen. Can we jump the Ford into Turn 1? We even go for a move on Lando Norris. Bit of contact there with our fellow countryman, and we're going to get off unscathed in P4. Norris will maintain P3, and it's Felipe Drugovich down to P2. P2. Leclerc leads his home Grand Prix. What a start for the man in the Porsche. For once, he's not gone backwards. He's had the pattern of having pole position and then losing the pole. This time, ironically, he's in second place, and now he's the one gaining the position, and he's into first place. Drogovic may be unsighted, you know, immature, the inexperienced from pole position, bit of pressure getting to him, and he's down to P2, but it's still a pretty decent position, and who knows, with that extra DRS zone, could the Red Bull Honda go chasing after the Porsche factory team? Like I said, Norris P3 still, bit of contact we made, but I don't think there's any damage to mine or the McLaren's car. In fact, we're right on the back of him. Behind us, Verstappen with a really slow getaway in P5 in the Ford, Giovinazzi 6th, Stroll, Russell, Lundgaard, and then Schumacher round out the top 10. Mick Schumacher doing a great job at the moment to maintain the P10. Gasly stuck behind in P11. It's going to be, well, I would say a long afternoon, but it's going to be a shorter one than he's used to, obviously, with the sprint race, but it's still going to be a long old sprint for Gasly to make up the positions. Meanwhile, for us, we're trying to apply the pressure to Norris for P3. This could be the beginning of a podium shout for us if we can get past the McLaren and then try and pressurize Drogovic. He looks like the Brazilian's not getting anywhere close to the Porsche, is actually kind of backing into us two, so we have a good chance maybe here today, but we're now right up close as we go through swimming pool. Can we make a move into La Rascas? No, not quite. Getting very close though, pretty much pushing Lando through the last two corners, so getting a little bit impatient here, but we need to just wait for an opportunity. But lap 3 now, the DRS is available, and this could be the first time we use this second extra DRS zone in the tunnel to maybe punch past the McLaren. You know, we need to get a move on though, because, you know, the more we get stuck behind him, you know, Verstappen's lurking around in the background there, and like I alluded to, Drogovic was falling away a bit, but now he's picking up the pace a tad, and he's actually now closer to Leclerc team visually here through the hairpin, so we need to get a move on, get past the McLaren, and then I think genuinely we could probably try and chase after Drogovic, but that's easier said than done. Can we get past Lando potentially this lap? Both of us with DRS, but we're using a lot of ERS through the tunnel. Out of it now, diving down the inside. It's going to be so close to the wall, and Lando's going to cut across the whole corner and maintain the position as we are now stuck behind him using a bit of ERS, but we just can't find a way down the inside into the back as we go through the swimming pool section now, getting really agitated now, being stuck behind the McLaren. I thought that was done and dusted. You know, we flirted so close with the wall on the left-hand side there, left enough room for Lando to work with, but ultimately I was expecting him to back out of it, but he just carried on accelerating and cut, you know, not even the sausage curb, pretty much the rest of the runoff area. You know, I wouldn't have minded if it was over the sausage curb, but it seemed like he took quite a lot of liberty on the inside to maintain the position. I don't know, but the FI think nothing of it, so we'll just stick with that and get on with it and stop complaining. So can we try and maybe get past him on this next lap, because DRS on the main straight, it's not working as well this season. Last season we had so many moves at turn 1, but just not feeling it. The McLaren's too quick out the last corner, and he seems to be here where he's slower, and again for the second time now, this time he doesn't have DRS off Drogovic. So now can we go for a move? Lando defensive, we got on the outside this time to try and do the move he did. We caught across the curb, but somehow the McLaren maintains the position. Great acceleration. That McLaren's just too lightweight, it would seem, out the corners, but we're so much closer now through swimming pool. Can we make that infamous Rascas dive bomb overtake? We're going to go for it, and we've got it wrong. We've got it horribly wrong. We made contact with the wall. We spun Lando around, and his tyres off, and there's a massive pile up now just as we go into Rascas. About 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars are then caught up in that, and so we have caused absolute havoc. That is carnage down in the last sector of Monaco. We've been given a 5-second time penalty for the contact we made with Norris and just the instance in general, which is fair enough. I'll put up my hands. I went for the dive. The red mist descended, I can't lie, because I was so frustrated at not getting the move done on the previous lap. So to be honest, if I'm being fair, 5 seconds is actually quite lenient. I probably could have deserved more than 5 seconds, but it's 5 seconds I've been given, so we'll take the penalty at the pit stop. We've come in for a front wing change anyway, but the safety car's out, so we actually, in the end of it, ironically, got our free pit stop, but because of that front wing change, we've actually gone behind Verstappen as we, wow, nearly hit the safety car there. I wasn't sure what the hell he was doing. And for a split second, I don't know, for whatever reason, I thought that was one of the cars I was meant to stay behind. So narrowly missing, hitting the Aston Martin safety car. But yeah, we have lost the position to Verstappen because of that front wing change. But let's have a look at a replay then and just see that from the off-board, because it must have been quite something. You know, look how close we are through swimming pool. We got such a launch, but then here just... the door just closed way too quickly. You know, usually maybe the AI gives you a bit of a gap because he sees you coming on the inside mirror, but, you know, the door just got closed so quickly for me, and I misjudged that completely. So, hands up, I'll admit my mistake there. I was way too eager to try that. You can see the launch we got, though. This is why I thought we could make that move, because we got such a great exit off that left-hander, using ERS as well, to the inside. Now, at this point, I think, okay, the move's on, and now here, Lando's just broken so late, and at this point, it's game over, but I'm too late. I've committed. I've hit the wall and even the McLaren. So, not only did I take the McLaren out, I also, anyway, broke my front wing before I even hit him, hitting the wall. So, that's how much I got that wrong and just misjudged that. Not many times I have misjudged the Rasgas move, but, you know, to be fair, it is a very ballsy move, so it's actually pretty easy to get wrong. So, it's actually a miracle I've not got it wrong more times before, but then this is just a chain reaction, and Gasly, our teammates, out. I didn't even notice that. So 5-6 cars out without one incident, and that's all kind of awkwardly from what I caused, basically. So fully admit, I probably deserved more than a 5-second, but the FI have you know, made their decision, and that's that. So we go racing again then. So miraculously, we're actually still in a P6 position, which is not too bad, to be fair. We've only got 14 runners left in this race, so for a second season in a row, it's been absolute bloodbath here at the Monaco race weekend. You know, 4 more DNFs and everyone finishing will score points, but let's hope it's pretty clean for the remainder of the race, at least for my sake, as we're now closing up to Verstappen, and we're having a point to prove here, as we're going to go for a dive immediately on Verstappen, lap 7 at Rasgas, at the same place we just had that crash, just to prove that we can still do that move, and that was the clean way to do it. You know, I felt, you know, like determined that we had to do that, just not for anyone else but myself, to prove that, okay, we made a mistake, it happens, I can still pull off that move though, and we made a great one on Verstappen. 3 laps later then, after overtaking the Dutchman, looking to make a move on Drogovic, it's a massive dive out the tunnel there, Sergio Perez-esque from 2013, and we're now side by side with the Brazilian into the back. It's going to be very fine margins between myself and the Brazilian, as we're side by side through a place where really you shouldn't be even attempting it, but we've managed it somehow, and Drogovic has backed out that, and he's down to P5. So in a flash, you know, in the span of what's that, about 4 laps, we've made 2 crucial overtakes on Verstappen and Drogovic, and like we've seen in the past, very much so, I myself personally and the FOM MyTeam car is much more raceable on the medium compounded tyre. The soft compound just it wears out so much. You can lean so much more on the mediums, I feel, and that works so much better for myself personally versus the AI. So now purple first sector, looking to close up on Dan Ticktum. He's not made a pit stop yet, so him and Carlos Sainz, who leads this race, will be making a pit stop eventually. So Leclerc will get in the lead, but there's yellow flags behind, I saw on the mini-map, and it's because of this. The BMW goes careering into the curb, and the other BMW hits the back of the Lotus. Both BMWs are out of this race in a flash. That was the strangest crash, though, especially for the second BMW, because I think it was Christian Lundgaard just going slowly because of the first incident. Here's an onboard then, looking behind, and oh, he sheared his rear tyre off on the wall, and then hit the wall, and then there you can see just on the right-hand side, his teammate then careered into the back of the Lotus. So it really has continued to be a bit of a bloodbath, as we've now got 6 laps remaining then of this Monaco sprint. The others who were yet to make a pit stop have, so it is legitimately now Leclerc in the lead once again, myself in second, Drogovic third, Verstappen fourth, Giovinazzi fifth, and we've only got 12 runners in 6 laps. With how the race has gone so far, I wouldn't put it past 2 more DNFs, but let's see how it goes then. Green flags, Leclerc with a good restart. We've actually had a good one as well versus the Red Bull behind us. Kind of caught him napping a little bit and actually keeping up with Leclerc for now, who's, I must say, been dominating this race, and he will continue to dominate, because literally lap 16 then into the last sector, I'm falling away like mad. My tyres are really feeling feeling quite second-hand here. The sprint race tyres feeling very second-hand. Indeed, you can see the snap of oversteer going quite pedestrian almost through the swimming pool section and still having that snap of oversteer. And Leclerc is now 3.3 seconds clear. He is a man on a mission to defy the real-life odds of that, you know, bad luck charm he has at his home race, and he's looking likely to go on to win his home Grand Prix Monaco sprint race. Meanwhile, for us, lap 17, we're under pressure from Drogovic. We're really not liking these mediums anymore as the rear end is screaming out, and Drogovic has a great entry and exit to that chicane. I don't know how he's managed it, but he's alongside us now, and we're now side by side through to back into the swimming pool section. We're going to maintain track position, but I don't even know how the Brazilian got such an exit, and he vaults the curb, and he actually makes contact with us, and now Verstappen has made a rash-gas dive bomb on the Red Bull. What an overtake. It's very rare to see the AI make a rash-gas dive bomb, but he's done it, and Verstappen sends himself up into P3, a podium here at Monaco for Ford Performance Motorsport. What a move that was. And for Drogovic, he was just way too keen. He vaulted over the curb at swimming pool, hit my rear left tyre, started half spinning. To be fair to him, caught the car and kept out of the wall, but it meant Verstappen got the move. But Verstappen's not done there because he's now creeping on the back of us. He's got DRS through that tunnel section and putting us under pressure. Lock up from us on the front left, and we're narrowly keeping it out the wall on the left hand side. The rear and front tyres for me are really worn out, and by the last lap of the Grand Prix, we're backing Verstappen into the pack. I don't know what's happened here, but like Bahrain, my tyres are starting to go off a cliff here. It's not as dramatic as the soft tyres at Bahrain, but still having big issues. It's a slide out of that corner, and Verstappen now has a good run with that new DRS zone. He's going to send it down the inside. We're going to squeeze him for good measure, but Verstappen holds his own, gets the elbows out, and he's probably one of the few AI drivers that, you know, just doesn't get scared off the road by that kind of classic squeeze I try to do to scare them and try and back them off. Verstappen is going to come through. He's carved his way through for P2, but Charles Leclerc for Porsche for the first time this season as the new factory team win in Formula 1, and Leclerc breaks his Monaco GP curse, virtually at least, and wins his home sprint race. What an effort for him. Dominant display. Verstappen, kudos, fair play, carved his way through to P2. I'm just happy, to be fair, that we're even on the podium, of course, with the instant I cause. Got very lucky by the FI decision.
Victory for the team from Milton Keynes then, after a quality performance. And talk to me, what do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
Well, you know what they say, to finish first you have to finish. And that fact was clear today, with lots of retirements having a big effect on the outcome of the race. As a driver, you tend to keep reliability concerns to the back of your mind and just focus on what's in front of you. But for the teams, races like this can be very stressful.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
There you go, the man from Monaco finally wins in Monaco, and it's the first win for the Porsche factory team. Of course, they've won before in Formula 1 with, you know, the partnership with myself and Red Bull last season, but this is their first win as a factory outfit, and Verstappen, second place, oh so close, you know, one step off a win for Ford. I feel like at some point, Ford could go on to win a race. Just depends on if they can get a good quali and race all together. But, you know, I think, what's that? I think 2 podiums then for Max Verstappen in the Ford so far this season. That's a really, really solid effort from a, well, brand new formed team out of the ashes of Haas F1, of course. But for us then, with that third place, like I said, I will admit, I got very lucky with the penalty. I really, it's kind of like almost a Hamilton British Grand Prix 2021 situation, you know. Did I deserve a harsher penalty because I came back through for a greater result than I was fighting for with Lando? Maybe, but it's the way the cookie crumbles with the FIA. And so in the championship then, Giovinazzi leads the way still by 11 points, but Verstappen now is in second with Ford. We're in third place. Leclerc catapults himself up into P5 there, and the McLarens slip down the order with a poorer Grand Prix for them. Gasly P7. We get ahead of our teammate for the first time in the championship, and look how bloody close things are. There's 12 12 points separating the 5 top teams, 7 points separating the top 4 teams and the constructors. After 4 rounds, it's still early days, I know, but that's still incredible stuff. Guys, if you have enjoyed the Monaco Sprint episode, then be sure to hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.